years, which were quite difficult and often painful. I mean, I would go see Bob and I would come out. He was always himself. He never lost it. Many of you came to see Bob towards the end. Tracy did, I know, and a number of people, and he was still able to be completely himself, but he was beat up and hurting in every direction. And as they say in King Lear, the wonder is that he kept endured so long, you know. But and so and he did. He was just a tough guy. And every time I saw him, I'd say, "How are you, Bob?" And he'd say, "I'm poor," because he couldn't be honest. You know, he couldn't be doing what Bob Pinney was made to do. And he gave us really more than any actor, I believe, in my lifetime, and probably any future lifetime will give in Colorado Springs. And we were all very, very lucky. I'm very lucky. Our work would not have been possible without Bob. I just couldn't be more grateful. And I'm lucky because I, in a way, don't have to say goodbye to Bob because I can see Bob anytime. You know, I can do reruns of plays and I can catch him and I know what it's like and there he is for me. So he's a lot, will always be a lot for me. I asked him towards the end of his life, in the last several months ago, it's about, we sit down and we have conversations, it's about what do you want to be doing at the end, you know, and what do you want done with your, do you want a funeral now? You know, I like a memorial, so would you like a little gathering? Would that be okay? And I said, well, what do you want done with your ashes? You know, he wanted to be cremated, and he was cremated. And he said, I'd quite like someone to be, there was a pause, and then he said, I'd quite like some of them to be scattered in the rose bushes out in front of the Bonneville Theater, you know, on the ramp. And he'd like them just mixed in there. And I said, I think we can do that. He said, yeah. He said, and then when people are coming up to the theater and seeing the show, you know, they'll hear me. And they'll hear a voice coming out of the rose bushes. And it will say, it sucks. So we'll put it there, and I hope you'll hear it about it. Anyway, thanks very much, and I'm going to turn it over to you now. And anybody who wants to come up and say a few words about Bob, I'm sure we'd all be glad to hear. Thanks very much. Come on. Yeah.
I think I've worked with just about everybody in this play. The first time I met Bob was on the phone, and the last time I talked to Bob was on the phone. 27 years ago, in 1982, he called me up and said, Sharon Andrews says you're a fairly hot actor that I'd like to have in this play we're doing at Star Bar called Misalliance. So that was my introduction to Bob. And then just about a month or two ago, Bob called me up and said, Tom, I know you like records and music, so I'd like you to have my records. Thank you, Bob.
I'm actually probably one of the few people in the room who actually never met Bob and never got to work with him. But the thing I remember about him was when I first started getting into theater, he was doing a show, and I don't recall the show. But when he came out, people applauded before he even said a single word, and I thought that was just awesome. And then when I did the Shakespeare Festival last summer, Murray was trying to get Bob to play Adam. Was that the character? And we weren't sure he was going to be able to make it, and a guy named Jim was stepping in. He did a good job, and he did the role knowing that if Bob decided to come do the show, that he would go ahead and step aside. But unfortunately, he never made it, and I was kind of bummed. But I just think it was great that he made that kind of impression without speaking to the man.
I think, like Tom, I think I've worked with a lot of people in this audience too. My The first time I met Bob was, I was really young. I first started school up here, and I had problems with diction. And Bob loved to piss me off. It was a love-hate relationship. He loved pissing me off, and I hated Murray. I'm a graduate of Bob's School of Philosophy and Acting, the P&P School of Thought. You pause and I panic. He used to tell me that all the time. He says, you know, Melvin, you pause, I panic. And it pissed me off one night. We were doing the Tempest, I think it was. And one night he made the mistake of pissing me off, and I decided to scare him. So he was going to go on stage, and I hid in the wings because I had to hold this big-ass cape of his. You know? So Mary had to be doing either carrying something or just being under the wings of Bob. And so there I was. And because, you know, it's in the tent, and it's real dark, he couldn't see me, but I was watching him. And he's walking around, you know how he is. Those who know Bob, he always would be reading his script right to the last moment when he had to go up on stage. There he was, and then he looked around, and he did not find me. And I was waiting. And then he walked on stage, and he's still yelling, "Where the hell is Melvin?" You know? And then as he was walking down the stage, I snuck on there and carried his cape. You know, never let me forget that, you know. Later on, he got back at me, we were on stage together, and he was right in the middle of his talk, and then he stopped. And he looked at me. Those people that work with me, I am not fast on my feet. I'm lucky to know my own damn line. And I looked at him and said, thank God somebody else came on the stage and helped us out. We could been standing there for forever. I, like Murray, I happen to, Chris Lowell and I would spend, and we'd go to lunch together with Bob in the last, and I saw him about a month before, I think it was about a month before he died, and if he had known that you all would be here, I mean, it really surprised him when Chris Lowell and I talked about how much he is loved, and that it was very important for him to let people come and talk to him before he passed away, because he had no idea. I mean, he had some idea, but you know Bob, I mean, you know, Bob's Bob. He was always the same way, crotchety and hard to talk to, you know, and he still was giving me a lot of shit before he died. So, but I just want to tell you that I was really privileged to have worked with Bob. I thank Murray for giving me the opportunity to work with Bob, and I think it was Bob's punishment to work with me. I know Murray was pissed off. You know, Murray was talking about their relationship. That was Murray's way of pissing him off. You work with Melvin. I want to say, Bob will be missed by me. My son misses him. You know, he worked with my son. And I think, you know, Theater Works will really miss a great person. And thank you all.
Big fat table, so when I try, just bear with me. What Murray didn't tell you about the night of his 70th birthday was that the storm started the instant that the sound cue came. For the storm, when Lear went out on the heath, we heard the first sound cue, the thunder sound cue, and then suddenly, in the distance, coming over the front range was thunder. And the entire time he was out there doing this stunning scene, rain was just battering the tent. And then the moment that he left the stage, it stopped. and the skies were clear again, and I believe very firmly that the Bard was there with Bob that day, and that was his birthday gift. And Lear was a huge privilege. And I really miss Bob, I know we all do. I'm just not as good at keeping it together as some people are.